Hi Scrappy friends, and welcome back to my channel for another process video. Today I'm going to be working in my son's album. It's going to be a 12 by 12 layout, and it's going to my first thought was I was actually going to do this a live, but it ended up being 25 minutes. I wasn't sure how you guys feel about that, so I decided to just do my normal voiceover, put it on fast forward, but definitely leave me in the comments if you rather me do a live, knowing that it's going to be about a 25-minute video. Hear my thoughts out loud right there in that moment, or if you prefer a voiceover and get it for half that time. All right, so I have this collection by Pink Fresh Studio. It is called Boys Fort, and my first thoughts were I had no idea what I was going to do. I dug through my stash, and I knew I wanted to have a pattern background, but I always like to have a very simple pattern background where it's not too loud, so you have a resting spot on your eyes, and ledger paper is always perfect for that. So this is by Glitz Design, and I thought that was the perfect paper. It had that kind of distressed feel to it, and not only that, the green and the rust color on that ledger paper matched perfectly with the collection that I'm using. Now, I originally cut those strips up, kind of going, okay, what am I going to do? And my first thought was, in the beginning, I was going to have it up at the top and kind of do that rule of thirds. But then I was like, I just kind of did something similar to that, so let me drop it to the bottom. But I felt like that was too much. So then I moved it off to the side, and I had it straight, very linear, off to the side where they were both layering one another. And I just felt that that was too close to the layout I just did of my son's beach trip. So then I had this idea of like, wait a minute, what if I kind of turn them off so they're slightly at an angle, and do something like that. Now this is something I haven't done, and so I was like, ooh, I'm really loving the look of this. Now obviously I have a gap though, because it's not reaching the bottom portion of that. So I thought, what can I do to fix that? So let me go ahead and cut those pieces up, since they're going to be hidden behind the photo. Once I did that, I realized, oh, wait a minute, you see the gap because I don't have the two pictures connected. So my first thought was I could mat them. That would definitely hide it. And that's what I thought I was originally going to do, was mat the photos on probably either a dark blue or even maybe a green paper, probably more green, and back that up on that as a mat, and that would hide the spacing of those two strips of paper. But then as I put them together, I thought, wait a minute, I really don't need to put them on a mat, because that's not what I really wanted to do for this layout. All I really needed to do was add an embellishment and hide that little tiny spot. So that's what I do. I put some off to the side of ones that I thought I might use, and I saw these triangles that were in the embellishment kit as well. And I thought that I would angle them up. Sorry, I got a text from my daughter. So I first thought those triangles, I would have them kind of spread out up on the top where all that white space is, but then I felt like that was completely a separate design from what was on the right hand side. So then I thought, well, let me try to bring them together and move them over to where the design actually is. You saw me kind of bring them down in a line, drawing your attention to the photos, and I did like that. I thought maybe that was what I was going to do, but then I felt that the triangles and the diamonds in both those patterns, plus the ephemera, was competing with one another. So I decided to scratch that. Now I'm going to decide on what type of ephemera that I'm going to use, and this is how I narrow it down. The Happy Days I felt was too much green. I wanted to bring more color so that way I can use more embellishments and not be tied to so many certain colors. And so then I tried to do the circle one. I think it says I wake up awesome. And my son is not smiling in this picture, and not that he was mad or grouchy, but he's probably just relaxing. So I felt like that really didn't fit the ephemera didn't fit the photo. I thought about love, but then again, I'm trying to bring more color, and that's when I decided to do the boys rule one. I found a label that was also in that ephemera, and then a number 2, and I say this always. Anytime I could bring in some numbers, because I don't do project life like most people do, which is doing it by the week and using up a ton of numbers, I have an overabundance of numbers, which stay tuned for that because I am going to have a special video. I'm going to make an announcement, and it's all about having, it's all about numbers. Okay, so I am going to use number 2 for, because two, my son and my husband. And then I wanted to bring washi tape. Now, washi tape I do not use, but I was like, I want to get out of my comfort zone and try using washi tape. I have so many from kits that because I really never purchased any washi tape. They usually come in kits, and I was like, let me just see how I can use it. And so I'm using it to kind of ground my embellishments so they don't look like they're floating. And I have one at the bottom that has the 2 puppy stickers that says little man, and it's a guy thing. Then I'm also going to place one where the 2 is, because like I said, I don't want that 2 to feel like it's floating. And I know I need to bring a 3rd one, but I'm not sure yet what I want to do. So I'm going to try different things out. So addition it to the left. And then I thought, no, let me see what it's, because I don't really have a cluster there. And then I would have to kind of create a 4th cluster spot, and which I didn't want to do. So I bring it to the bottom, and I'm going to have that go ahead and again ground that title that says Boys Rule. One thing I noticed in this an ephemera pack is it was pretty much a lot of phrases. So I just didn't have any motifs of anything. So I really was kind of hesitant on what else I could put on my layout. I try to talk about how I want to leave a breathing room where you kind of have a resting spot for your eyes, which is going to be that top spot up there. But I was trying to figure out what else I could add to this layout. But this is a color palette that I just don't have a whole lot in my stash. So what I did was I waved goodbye thinking, you know what, this is going to be my layout. It's done. And I, of course, knowing me, knowing that that never happens, I come back an hour later. What I did was I turned off the camera, hung out with my husband for a little bit. Then I went into my scrapbooking room and I just started going through everything. I was like, let me see, because I have so much product in here, especially with scrapbooking. And I know we all feel the same way. After scrapbooking for so many years, you just forget on things that you have. That is why I've purchased 3 or 4 items of the same thing, not realizing I already had it. So I went into my stash, and I, lo and behold, found the Studio Calico, purchased them from 2Ps. They're chipboard hearts, and the hearts are going to be the exact same color of the rust. And I'm going to have that here in a minute. But what I'm doing right now, again, because I was live, I wanted you to hear my thoughts. I'm talking about how I'm having a resting spot up in that white space. But if I had other products, not so much, I didn't want to add more words. I would definitely create layers, probably a little bit behind that photograph there. Maybe even bring washi tape, but because I didn't mat those 2 photos and they have that space there with the background in between the 2 photos, I really can't, because then it's going to look odd knowing that you see a piece behind it. Had I put the 2 photos together, yes, I could have ran some washi tape or another piece of pattern paper, but I didn't. All right, so there are those hearts that I just spoke to you about, and I was very specific on which ones I wanted to use. There was one heart that had a very deep dip at the top part, and it looked very odd when I brought it up to the number 2. I loved that one where it had the little cutout in the center. Really liked it there. I'm even going to try it. Excuse me. It just won't go away. Even tried it up at the top, but I felt like I didn't need to have every cluster to have the same embellishments. As long as I have something little in each spot, I was happy. So I ended up deciding to go with this arrow, and I'm talking about how I want to line up the arrowhead with the photo. And then I'm going to grab the heart that I decided to use, put that up there with 2, and then I'm going to have a 3rd one, not the 3rd heart. Although like I said, I love that little peekaboo heart. I think it looks super cute right there, all tucked in between those 2 phrases. I try to put this 3rd one on there by the title, too big, looked out of place, did not like it, decided to scratch that, let me go ahead and go back to the arrow, put the arrow above those two phrases, pointing to my husband and son, and then I'm going to grab one of the stars and I'm going to place the star down. And that's it, everybody. Stay tuned for close-ups. Just want to say thank you so much for spending time with me today. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you here. And don't forget, leave in the comments below if you prefer a voiceover with a shorter video or a live video where I'm talking out loud of my thoughts, and it's going to be about 25 minutes. All right, everybody, have a great day. Bye.